The day my mother-in-law called me worthless, I was holding a positive pregnancy test that would never lead to a baby. But 5 years later, when she stood at my doorstep begging for forgiveness, my 7-year-old daughter, Mira, delivered the words I'd waited years to hear. My name is Nessa, and for 8 years, I believed that becoming a mother would complete me. I married Damon when I was 24, full of dreams about the big family we'd create together. We picked out baby names on our honeymoon and turned the spare bedroom into a future nursery before our first anniversary. I painted the walls soft yellow because it would work for any gender. What I didn't know then was that my body had other plans. After 2 years of trying naturally, we started the fertility treatment journey that would drain our savings and test every ounce of strength in our marriage. But the real battle wasn't with my body. It was with Claudette, my mother-in-law, who believed a woman's only value came from her ability to produce grandchildren. Damon was her only child, her golden boy who could do no wrong. She'd raised him alone after his father, Rupert, lost his job and fell into depression when Damon was 10. Claudette worked 2 jobs to put him through college, and in her mind, I was stealing her reward: biological grandchildren to carry on the family name. The twins came into my life when I'd lost all hope. Mira and Sage weren't born from my body, but they were born from my choice to love them when their biological mother died and left them alone in the world at just 2 years old. Mira, with her fierce protectiveness and sharp tongue that reminded me of myself, Sage, gentle and thoughtful, who saw the world through artist's eyes even at 7. This is the story of how I learned that mothers aren't made in delivery rooms. They're made in the moments when you choose love over blood, courage over comfort, and your children's well-being over keeping the peace. It's about how 2 little girls taught their grandmother the price of cruelty and showed me that family isn't about DNA. It's about who shows up, who stays, and who fights for you when the world tries to tear you down. That Saturday morning when Claudette appeared at our door after 5 years of silence, I watched my daughters stand up for me the way I'd always stood up for them, and in that moment I knew that every tear, every treatment, every harsh word had led me exactly where I needed to be. Not to motherhood by birth, but to motherhood by choice. And that made all the difference. Sunday dinners at Claudette's house were like walking through a minefield in high heels. You knew you were going to step on something explosive. You just didn't know when. I'd been navigating these weekly gatherings for 8 years, and they'd only gotten worse since Damon and I passed the 5-year mark without children. Claudette lived in a pristine colonial house on Maple Street, the same house where Damon grew up. Every surface gleamed, every pillow sat at a perfect angle, and family photos lined the walls like a shrine to better times. The dining room table could seat 12, though it was usually just the 4 of us: Claudette, Rupert, Damon, and me. Rupert barely spoke during these dinners, having learned long ago that silence was safer than disagreeing with his wife. "Pass the green beans, Nessa," Claudette said that particular Sunday, her voice sweet as honey but her eyes sharp as glass. "You know, Willa just announced she's pregnant again. Her 3rd. Can you imagine? Some women are just blessed with fertile wombs." I passed the green beans and bit my tongue. Damon squeezed my knee under the table, our silent signal that meant just a little longer. But his comfort felt hollow when he never spoke up to defend me. "We saw Dr. Harrison again last week," I offered, trying to redirect the conversation. "He's optimistic about the new treatment protocol." Claudette's laugh tinkled like broken china. "Oh, you're still throwing money at those doctors? Honey, when I was your age, women didn't need help getting pregnant. We just did our duty." "Medicine has advanced, Mom," Damon said quietly, pushing his pot roast around his plate. "Lots of couples need assistance these days." "Well, I managed just fine without any assistance," Claudette continued, ignoring her son's comment. "Of course, I chose a husband with strong genes. Damon, you remember the Petersons from church? Their daughter married that lawyer from the city. 6 months later, pregnant. It's really about finding the right match." The implication hung in the air like smoke. I wasn't the right match. I was the problem. The defective wife who couldn't give her precious son the legacy he deserved. My work at the Children's Hospital made these dinners even harder to swallow. Every day I cared for sick children whose parents would give anything just to see them healthy. I held babies born too early, fighting for every breath. I comforted toddlers through chemotherapy and helped teenagers navigate chronic illness. I knew what real problems looked like, and yet here I sat being judged for a biological function I couldn't control. "How's the construction business, Damon?" Rupert asked, his rare contribution to dinner conversation. He always tried to steer us away from dangerous waters, though it rarely worked. "Good, Dad. We just landed the new shopping center project on Route 9. "That's wonderful," Claudette said, but her attention swiveled back to me. "Though I suppose all that success won't mean much without anyone to inherit it. Nessa, have you considered that maybe you're too stressed? All that time at the hospital with sick children. It's not natural for a woman who's trying to conceive." "My job has nothing to do with our fertility issues," I said, my voice sharper than intended. "I'm just saying," Claudette continued, cutting her meat with precise movements, "that in my day, women focused on preparing their bodies for motherhood, not running around a hospital at all hours. Perhaps if you took a more traditional approach, stayed home, prepared proper meals instead of all that takeout Damon mentions." That was news to me. Damon talked about our takeout habits with his mother. What else did he share during their private conversations? The grandfather clock in the hallway chimed 7 o'clock. One more hour. I could survive one more hour. "We should probably think about dessert," Rupert suggested. "That apple pie smells amazing, Claudette." She preened at the compliment. "It's Damon's favorite, though I suppose I should learn to make other desserts for when the grandchildren come." She looked directly at me. "If they come." After that dinner, Damon and I drove home in familiar silence. He kept the radio on to avoid talking about what happened. When we pulled into our driveway, I stared at our house. A modest 2-story we'd bought with the future in mind. 4 bedrooms for all the children we'd planned. A big backyard for swing sets and birthday parties. Now it felt like a monument to our failure. "She doesn't mean it the way it sounds," Damon said finally, turning off the engine. "Then how does she mean it?" I asked. He sighed, running his hands through his hair. "She's just old-fashioned. She'll be different when we have kids." "When? Not if." "When." That night, I lay in bed next to my husband and wondered how many more Sunday dinners I could endure. How many more cuts disguised as concern, insults wrapped in advice, accusations served alongside apple pie. I didn't know then that Claudette's cruelty would soon escalate beyond anything I could imagine, or that her words would finally push me to make the best decision of my life. Claudette's 65th birthday party was the social event of her year. She'd rented the ballroom at Willowbrook Country Club and invited every relative, church friend, and business associate she could think of. The guest list read like a who's who of people who'd asked me when I was having children. I wore my best cocktail dress, navy blue with subtle beading, hoping to blend into the background. Damon looked handsome in his gray suit, but the tension in his jaw told me he dreaded this evening as much as I did. We arrived precisely at 7, neither too early nor fashionably late, because Claudette noticed everything. The ballroom sparkled with string lights and gold decorations. A jazz quartet played in the corner, while waiters circulated with champagne and hors d'oeuvres. Claudette held court near the entrance, resplendent in a silver gown, accepting compliments and air kisses like a queen. "Damon! Nessa!" She waved us over with perfectly manicured nails. "Everyone, look at my handsome son. Doesn't he look just like his grandfather?" The first hour passed in a blur of small talk and careful smiles. I nursed a single glass of champagne while deflecting questions from Damon's aunts about our family plans. Cousin Willa cornered me by the shrimp display, her pregnant belly prominently displayed in a tight dress. "Any news?" she asked with fake sympathy. "I know how hard it must be watching everyone else have babies. Have you tried acupuncture? Or maybe it's gluten. I cut out gluten and got pregnant immediately." I escaped to the bathroom, needing a moment to breathe. The country club's ladies' room was all marble and gold fixtures, with a sitting area that looked like it belonged in a palace. I touched up my lipstick and gave myself a pep talk in the mirror. Just 2 more hours. The door swung open, bringing the sound of laughter and clinking glasses. Claudette entered with her sister Vivian and her best friend Marjorie. They were all flushed with champagne and celebration. I tried to slip out, but Claudette blocked my path. "Nessa, we were just talking about you," she said, her words slightly slurred. "Weren't we, ladies?" Vivian and Marjorie exchanged uncomfortable glances. "Claudette, maybe we should head back to the party," Vivian suggested. No, this is perfect. Private girl talk." Claudette stepped closer, and I could smell the wine on her breath. 8 years, Nessa. 8 years my son has been married to you, and nothing to show for it. "Claudette, please, not here." My voice came out smaller than I intended. "Where then? You avoid me at dinners. You make excuses for holidays. When should I talk about the fact that you're failing my son?" "That's enough," Marjorie said firmly. "Let's go back to your party." But Claudette was on a roll now, years of resentment pouring out with her inhibitions lowered. A barren woman has no worth in a family. That's what my mother told me, and she was right. You're stealing my son's chance at a legacy. What's the point of all his success if there's no one to inherit it? "How dare you?" The words exploded from me before I could stop them. "I dare because someone needs to say it." Claudette's voice rose to match mine. "Maybe Damon should find a real woman who can give him children. Someone who isn't broken." The word broken hit me like a physical blow. Vivian gasped. Marjorie grabbed Claudette's arm, but she shook her off. "You think I don't know about the failed treatments? The money you've wasted? Damon tells me everything. How you cry every month, how you've turned my son into a pathetic man who has to comfort a defective wife instead of raising his children." I pushed past her and ran, through the ballroom, past the surprised faces, out the French doors to the parking lot. My heels clicked against the pavement as tears blurred my vision. I heard Damon calling my name but didn't stop until I reached our car. He found me there, sobbing against the passenger door. "Nessa, what happened? Where did you go?" I told him everything, every cruel word, every accusation. I watched his face cycle through emotions, shock, anger, then something worse, resignation. "She didn't mean it that way," he said finally. "You know how she gets when she drinks." Those words hurt more than anything Claudette had said. My husband, the man who promised to love and protect me, was making excuses for his mother, calling me worthless. "She called me broken, Damon, defective. And you're defending her?" "I'm not defending her. I'm just saying she's drunk and emotional. She'll apologize tomorrow." "I don't want an apology. I want you to stand up for me. For us." He sighed and unlocked the car. "Let's just go home. We'll deal with this tomorrow." We drove home in silence, but this wasn't our usual post-dinner quiet. This was the silence of something fundamentally shifting between us. I stared out the window at the passing streetlights and made a decision. I couldn't live like this anymore. Something had to change. The next morning, I woke up with swollen eyes and absolute clarity. Damon had already left for work, leaving a note about an early meeting. No mention of last night. No acknowledgement of his mother's cruelty or his failure to defend me. Just business as usual. I called in sick to work and sat at our kitchen table with a cup of coffee that went cold while I found the courage to say what needed to be said. When Damon came home that evening, I was still in the same spot, having rehearsed my words 100 times. "We need to talk," I said as he set down his keys. "If this is about last night, Mom called. She feels terrible. She wants to apologize." "I don't care what she wants." My voice was steady, stronger than I felt. "I care that when your mother called me broken and worthless, you made excuses for her." "Nessa, come on, you know I don't think you're broken." "But you didn't say that last night. You didn't tell her she was wrong. You didn't defend your wife." I stood up, needing to move. "Either you stand up to your mother, really stand up to her, or I'm done." His face went pale. "What do you mean, done?" "I mean, I'll leave. I can't live like this anymore, Damon. I can't keep pretending it's okay for her to treat me like I'm less than human because my ovaries don't work properly." "You're overreacting. She was drunk. She's already sorry." "She's been saying these things for years. Sober, drunk, it doesn't matter. And you let her." We argued for hours, circling the same points. He thought I was being too sensitive. I thought he was being a coward. Finally, exhausted and heartbroken, I packed a bag. "Where are you going?" he asked, panic finally creeping into his voice. "To Kendra's. I need space to think." My sister Kendra lived across town in a small apartment that always smelled like her vanilla candles. She opened her door, took one look at my face, and pulled me into a hug without asking questions. That's what I loved about her. She knew when to talk and when to just be there. For 2 weeks, I slept on Kendra's couch and tried to imagine my life without Damon. We'd been together for 10 years, married for 8. Could I really start over at 32? The thought terrified me, but not as much as the thought of enduring another Sunday dinner at Claudette's. Then Joelle called. My best friend since nursing school. She'd become a social worker specializing in foster care. "I know you're going through a lot," she said carefully, "but I have to tell you about these twins." "Joelle, I can't think about adoption right now. My marriage is falling apart." "Just hear me out. 2-year-old girls, Mira and Sage. Their mom died in a car accident 3 months ago. No father on the birth certificate, no family stepping forward. They're in a good foster home, but they need permanency." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because the foster mom showed me a video of them yesterday. The quiet one, Sage. She arranged all her goldfish crackers by color before eating them, just like you do with your Skittles. And Mira protected her sister's crackers from another kid like a tiny bodyguard. They need a mom, Nessa. They need you." Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet them. The foster home was cheerful, with toys scattered across the living room and children's artwork on every wall. Mira and Sage were in the corner, sharing a picture book. Mira had wild curls and suspicious eyes. Sage hid behind her sister, peeking out occasionally. "Hi," I said, sitting cross-legged on the floor near them. "I like your book. Is that about a bunny?" Mira studied me carefully. "Sage likes bunnies. I like tigers." "Tigers are pretty cool, very protective of their families." That earned me a small smile. Sage scooted slightly closer, still using Mira as a shield. She held out a broken red crayon. "Fix it, please," she whispered. My heart cracked open. I couldn't fix her crayon any more than I could fix my own body, but I could try. "Let's see what we can do." I spent 3 hours with them, reading books, building block towers, and pretending to eat plastic food. When it was time to leave, Mira grabbed my hand. "You come back?" she asked. "Would you like me to?" Both girls nodded solemnly. As I drove back to Kendra's apartment, I knew my life had just changed direction. I called Damon. "I'm adopting 2 girls," I said without preamble. "Twins. They need a home, and I need to be their mother. I want you to be their father, but I'm doing this with or without you." Silence stretched between us. Then, quietly, "Can I meet them?" That weekend, Damon visited the foster home. Watching him kneel down to Mira and Sage's level, seeing Sage hand him a crayon to fix, witnessing Mira inspect him like a tiny security guard, I saw the man I'd fallen in love with, the one who existed before his mother's poison seeped into our marriage. "They're perfect," he said in the car afterward. "When do we start the paperwork?" "We? You're sure?" "I'm sure about them. I'm sure about you. I'm even sure about telling my mother that if she can't accept our daughters, she's out of our lives." It was a start. Not perfect, but a start. 5 years can change everything. Our house, once echoing with emptiness, now vibrated with life. Mira's art projects covered the refrigerator. Sage's carefully organized rock collection lined the windowsills. The yellow nursery I'd painted years ago had been transformed into a shared bedroom with bunk beds and glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. The twins were 7 now, thriving in 2nd grade. Mira had grown into her role as the fierce protector, captain of her soccer team, and defender of playground underdogs. Sage remained quieter, but had found her voice through art and music, playing violin with the focus of someone triple her age. They called me Mommy without hesitation and Damon Daddy with equal ease. We'd built our life without Claudette. She'd made her choice the day Damon told her about the adoption. "Those aren't my grandchildren," she'd said coldly. "They're strangers you're playing house with." "Then you're choosing DNA over family," Damon had replied, standing taller than I'd ever seen him. "Don't contact us until you can accept our daughters." She hadn't. For 5 years, we'd existed in the same town but different worlds. Rupert visited secretly sometimes, meeting us at the park with wrapped presents and whispered apologies for his wife's stubbornness. The girls called him Grandpa Rupert and made him Father's Day cards that he hid in his office. That Saturday morning started like any other. Pancakes shaped like butterflies for Sage, dinosaurs for Mira, cartoons on low volume while I sipped coffee and Damon read news on his tablet. Normal, peaceful hours. Then the doorbell rang. "I'll get it!" Mira jumped up, but I caught her shoulder. "Let me check first, sweetheart." I peered through the peephole and froze. Claudette stood on our porch, looking older, grayer, holding a gift bag with trembling hands. "Who is it, Mommy?" Mira asked, trying to see around me. I made a split-second decision. No more protecting her from truth. Someone who made Mommy cry a long time ago. Mira's eyes sharpened with understanding beyond her years. "The mean grandma lady Grandpa Rupert told us about? The one who said we aren't real family?" I nodded, my throat tight. Rupert had died 6 months ago, a sudden heart attack that shook everyone. We'd attended the funeral, but Claudette hadn't acknowledged our presence or the sympathy card the girls had made. "I'll handle this," Mira said with the confidence of a child who'd never doubted she was loved and wanted. "Mira, you don't have to." "Yes, I do. Nobody makes my mommy cry." Before I could stop her, she opened the door. I stayed just out of sight, close enough to intervene but letting my brave girl take the lead. Sage appeared at my side, slipping her hand into mine. Claudette's face transformed at the sight of a grandchild on the threshold. Hope, confusion, and something like hunger passed across her features. She looked past Mira, searching for Damon or me, then back at the small guardian blocking her way. "Hello, sweetheart," Claudette said, her voice shaking. "Is your mommy home? I'm your Grandma Claudette." Mira crossed her arms, a gesture so like Damon it would have been funny in any other context. "We don't talk to people who made Mommy cry." What, sweetheart? I'm sure there's been a misunderstanding." "No misunderstanding," Sage said quietly, stepping into view beside her sister. "Grandpa Rupert told us everything. You said Mommy was broken. You said we aren't real family because we weren't born from her tummy." Claudette's face crumpled. "I didn't mean I've changed. Please, I just want to talk to your parents." "My sister and I don't need a grandma who called Mommy worthless," Mira said with devastating clarity. "We have parents who chose us and wanted us. That's what real family means." "Please," Claudette whispered, clutching the gift bag like a lifeline. "I've lost so much. Rupert is gone. I haven't seen my son in 5 years. I've been going to therapy. I understand now what I did wrong." Sage looked up at me, questioning. I stepped into view, meeting Claudette's desperate eyes over my daughters' heads. For a moment, we all stood frozen in tableau. The woman who'd tried to break me, the daughters who'd healed me, and the weight of 5 years between us. "Mira's right," I said quietly. "Please leave." The gift bag slipped from Claudette's fingers, hitting the porch with a soft thud. Inside, I glimpsed wrapped packages, cards, the offerings of a woman who'd realized too late what she'd thrown away. But some bridges, once burned, can't be rebuilt with presents and apologies. I put my hands on my daughter's shoulders, gently guiding them back as I closed the door. Through the window, we watched Claudette sink onto our porch step, shoulders shaking with sobs that might have moved me once. Now I felt only the fierce protectiveness my girls had taught me. "Did we do the right thing?" Sage asked softly. "You stood up for our family," I said, kissing the top of her head. "That's always the right thing." Damon appeared at the top of the stairs, having heard everything. His eyes met mine over the girls' heads, full of pride and sorrow and love. We'd all paid a price for this moment, but looking at our daughters, brave and loyal and ours in every way that mattered, I knew we'd gained far more than we'd lost. We stood by the window as a family, watching Claudette remain on our porch step. Her silver hair, once perfectly styled, now disheveled in the morning breeze. The gift bag lay forgotten beside her, colorful tissue paper spilling onto the concrete. "Should we help her?" Sage asked, her gentle heart already wavering. "Sometimes helping someone means letting them feel the weight of their choices," Damon said, his voice heavy with the loss of the mother he'd once known. After 20 minutes, Claudette finally stood, picked up the scattered gifts, and walked slowly to her car. She sat in the driver's seat for another 10 minutes before driving away. We moved from the window and settled in the living room for what I knew would be an important family discussion. "Girls," I began, "what just happened was very hard for everyone. Do you have questions?" Mira, direct as always, went first. "Why did she wait so long to say sorry?" "Sometimes people need to lose something precious before they understand its value," Damon explained. Grandma Claudette thought family meant only people who share blood. She was wrong. "But Grandpa Rupert knew we were real family," Sage pointed out. "He did," I confirmed. "People can see the same situation very differently. Grandpa Rupert saw love. Grandma Claudette only saw genetics." We talked for an hour about family, forgiveness, and boundaries. The girls asked hard questions and we gave honest answers. When we finished, Mira made sandwiches for lunch while Sage set the table with her usual precision, each napkin perfectly aligned. 2 weeks later, a letter arrived addressed to all of us. Claudette's handwriting, once confident and bold, now looked fragile. Damon read it aloud at dinner. "Dear Damon, Nessa, Mira, and Sage, I've started therapy to understand why I believed such cruel things about family and worth. Dr. Martinez says I was repeating patterns from my own mother, but that's an explanation, not an excuse. I destroyed relationships with the people who matter most because I couldn't see past my own narrow definitions. Rupert tried to tell me. He visited you secretly because he couldn't bear to lose his son and grandchildren. He showed me pictures when he thought I was asleep. 2 beautiful girls at dance recitals and science fairs, a family whole and happy without me. I was too proud to admit I was wrong. I don't ask for forgiveness. I haven't earned it. I only want you to know that I finally understand. Nessa, you were never broken. You were brave enough to find another way to become a mother. Mira and Sage, you were never not real family. You are the granddaughters I failed to recognize and cherish. I'm selling the house. It's too big for one person and too full of regrets. I'm moving to a smaller place near my sister Vivian, continuing therapy, and trying to become someone worth knowing. Maybe someday, if you ever feel ready, we could start with a single cup of coffee. Or maybe that door is closed forever. I'll respect whatever you decide. With love, I'm only now learning to properly give. Claudette. The girls processed this differently. Mira drew a picture of our family that night. 4 figures holding hands with a small figure far in the distance. Sage wrote a poem about doors that might open someday but don't have to open today. "What do you want to do?" I asked them at bedtime. "Maybe we could send her a Christmas card," Sage suggested. "Not visit, just a card. With a picture of us," Mira added, "so she can see we're happy." "We'll think about it," Damon said. "There's no rush to decide." Months passed. We sent the Christmas card, a small gesture that felt huge. Claudette sent one back with only "thank you" written inside. Baby steps towards something not quite forgiveness, but perhaps understanding. The lesson our story teaches isn't that family is only about love rather than blood, though that's true. It's that protecting your peace and your children's well-being sometimes means letting people face the consequences of their cruelty. It means that no is a complete sentence, even to family. It means that when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. But it also means people can change, though change doesn't erase harm done. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is let your children see you choose their well-being over keeping the peace. I wasn't born a mother in a delivery room. I became one in a foster home when a little girl handed me a broken crayon and asked me to fix it. I couldn't fix the crayon, just like I couldn't fix my body or Claudette's heart. But I could love those girls with every piece of my patched-together heart. And in the end, that fixed everything that truly mattered. Our family was built on choice, not chance. Strengthened by struggle, not weakened by it. And guarded by 2 fierce little girls who knew exactly who belonged in their lives and who didn't. That Saturday morning when Mira told Claudette, "We don't talk to people who made mommy cry," she gave me the gift every mother hopes for. Children who see your worth even when the world tries to diminish it, especially when that world comes knocking at your door 5 years too late. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs to hear that family isn't about DNA. It's about showing up. Leave a comment below sharing your own thoughts on what makes a real family. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories about choosing love over expectations and finding strength in the most unexpected places. Remember, you are worthy of love exactly as you are, and the right people will never make you feel otherwise.